A very good afternoon and warm welcome to one and all present here. I, Himani Tomar from KCC Institutes, Greater Noida, being the moderator of the webinar, would present the gracious greetings to our Honorable Shri Dinesh Trivedi ji, who would be sharing his illuminating views with us on today's topic, which is entrepreneurship as a panacea to economic development, which surely would be an unparalleled add-on to our knowledge. The expertise of the righteous speaker is undoubtedly a stepping stone towards the horizon of our understanding in the fields. And it goes without saying that the aim of the webinar by KCC is to bestow among all listeners as much about the subject as it can. Moving further, I feel truly privileged to introduce you all to our inimitable Mr. Dinesh Trivedi ji, Member of Parliament and former Union Minister of Railways, as well as Health and Family Welfare. I feel delighted to share that Trivedi ji has been tremendously lucky in terms of his education as well. He studied in an elite boarding school in Shimla and Ceylon in Himachal Pradesh. He graduated from Kolkata's St. Xavier's College and then went to get an MBA from Austin, Texas in US. Adding more, he is a trained pilot, a very fine golfer, loves music, and sort of Abida Parveen also. You all might be kindled to know that he uses the latest and best gadgets to communicate. So now, by not taking even a single more minute, I would like our respected director, ma'am, Professor Dr. Bhavna Agarwal, to say a few words and welcome our guest of honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Himani. Good afternoon to each and everyone. I'm very pleased to see all of you here at this live webinar of Honorable Shri Dinesh Trivedi ji, Member of Parliament and former Minister of Health and Railways, for this entrepreneurship session. We are deeply grateful to our Honorable Speaker Shri Trivedi ji for sparing time for us out of his extremely busy and hectic schedule. Sir, it's a matter of pride for all of us to have an interaction with you. We are looking forward to be enlightened by the words of wisdom from you. I want to share a word about Sir. Whenever I got the chance to interact with him, I found him very positive and inspiring. And believe me, he is always willing to support and contribute to the cause enlightened by. Sir, I extend a warm welcome to you on this forum. Entrepreneurship is one of the major features of the Indian economic growth. It is also a factor that makes communities more vibrant, inclusive, and secure. Entrepreneurship puts rising economies on the path to prosperity and also empowers people to come together to tackle our most pressing global problems, ranging from unemployment to COVID-19. These are some of the reasons that we are so excited about entrepreneurship and promoting it among youth, including here in KCC. You will be hearing more about in the months to come, but for now, let me just say that we are extremely grateful to Shri Dinesh Trivedi sir for sharing his experience, as it is truly an incredible time to be participating in the Indian entrepreneurship sector for supporting not only an Indian economic growth, but also to many lives. With that, please allow me to welcome Sir Shri Dinesh Trivedi ji.
Namaskar, Bhavna ji. Thank you so very much for your kind words. It's such a great pleasure to virtually see you, and hoping that we otherwise see you in the normal world. I think we are going through a very interesting time. The reason I say interesting time, all the challenging times, afterwards, when we look back, becomes very interesting time. So when you look at any generation, all the generation during their lifetime, they face some such periods in life. Let's say, for instance, World War, and then the partition time. So the time is very traumatic, but then it builds a better human being in you. It makes you also absolutely a solid person within you to face the challenges. That's why I say it's a very difficult time, but very interesting time. So when you look back, you will always see your grandfather, your grandmother, your parents always talking about, okay, this is what happened during this period. So when we talk to our grandchildren or something, we always would say this is it. So having said that, thank you very much for having me here. As I was telling that let's have this conversation real, casual, meaningful. And I was going through the motto of KCC, which says that you prepare students to make a meaningful contribution to the society and engage them as citizen leaders to face this world which is full of challenges. So I think this topic is just right enough. And what I like is the word leadership. And I always felt that before, even if you become a leader, first you have to be a good human being. The basic tenet of life is you be a very good human being. Without being a good human being, you cannot really get into a thing where everything else becomes meaningless. So, and to become Atmanirbhar, entrepreneurship now we are talking about is because our Prime Minister and people around has given the call that let India be Atmanirbhar. So I always say, okay, before even you become Atmanirbhar, you must have Atmavishwas, self-confidence. Doesn't matter whether you're getting into business, does not even matter whether you're in sports, whether you're in music, or whether you are a big chef or a small chef, doesn't matter. All these things can be achieved if you have self-confidence. Here I will tell you two things. One is proficiency, other is efficiency. There are two different things. You can be absolutely a great professional in terms of, let's say, a surgeon. A surgeon has done all his training or her training, MBBS, FRCS, training, everything. But efficiency will not be there if that surgeon goes to an operation theater. It's so often the part of the body he or she has to do surgery on. And suddenly the doctor becomes nervous. Then all his or her knowledge goes totally waste. And then that doctor is not efficient. He or she may be great in terms of proficiency, but you need to be efficient as well. And that efficiency only comes when you're confident. Game of nerve. When Sachin Tendulkar goes out to bat and he has only to make about 20 runs in 6 balls. It's game of nerve. If he has confidence that I can do it. And what is the goal before him? If the goal before him is just to make his own century, then the goal is very, very small. Now, goal before him is I want to do India pride. When I have only 6 balls and 20 runs to make, that's where I see the tricolor, and that's where the goal is much bigger. When the goal is bigger, when the benchmark is higher, then everything is possible. Like Swami Vivekananda said, all the powers is within you. You can really do anything you want. And I'll just give you 2 examples and I will stop for the participant if they have questions. Now, do you know who is my greatest hero? My hero is a gentleman called Philippe Petit. Now, who is Philippe Petit? I do not know how many of you have seen a movie called The Walk. If you have seen it, then you will know that Philippe Petit is a person who is a wire walker. Now, what is a wire walker? There are 2 objects, a wire which is made of a semi-steel, which is flexible, and you put that wire and you walk from one end to another end. Now, the reason Mr. Philippe Petit becomes my hero is he went on to Twin Towers in the year 1974 August. And he made a connection between the Twin Tower from one end to another end, as I watched on the TV, which is a picture of what really happened. And at that altitude, and I'm a pilot, I understand the wind velocity. At that altitude, with one sort of a bamboo stick, this gentleman walks from one end to another end, again comes back. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And why do I say he's my hero? Because when I see this person walking on the rope at that altitude without any support, he did not have anything attached to him. If he fell, that's all. That's the end of life. So what did he have? First, he had the training, and I'm sure nothing comes easy, hard work. Second is his passion, his focus. And third is something which he perhaps enjoyed, and confidence which he had. So when I saw this gentleman and the movie, I said everything is possible. So my young friends who are watching this, entrepreneurship is something you decide what you want to do, and it will be done. Today, what is innovation? Innovation is nothing but young minds, they decide that this is what we want to do, and that is how it happens. And that's why the innovations take place. So this is where, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, you're very much audible.
Yeah, good. So whenever anybody decides something and works hard, main thing is the focus. As long as you have focus. Now, giving example, let's say of somebody who wants to be good in Shastriya Sangeet. Nothing comes easy. Even if somebody is a ustad or a pandit in Shastriya Sangeet, every single day, the person has to do riyaz of Saregama, the basic. So if anybody wants to be an entrepreneur, first of all, you have to find out why do you want to become. If the focus is only money, it's not worth it. The reason I say it's not worth it, yes, you can land up making a lot of money in the right way. So what matters is end and means both. Somebody can make a lot of money in a way which is not really acceptable to your own conscience. Leave aside the legal system, leave aside the society. You must accept it within your system. So that is why I said that before even you become a good entrepreneur, you must become a good citizen. You must have confidence. And lastly, I'll tell you that who's ruling this world? And I always say that the world is ruled by Satyam, Shivam, and Sundaram. Now, what do Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram stand for? Satya stand for Satya Nadella of Microsoft. Shivam stand for Shiv Nadar of HCL. And Sundar is Sundar Pichai of Google. Now, you can't go bigger than these three big, huge companies. Now, when you look at the background of these three great gentlemen who has done India Pride, they are running an organization whose turnover could be larger than the GDP of some countries. So they are all of Indian origin. They all started in a very humble background. Even if you see Warren Buffett, his right-hand man is one Mr. Jain. When you open the television in these days of COVID-19, most of the doctors or experts world over, when CNN or BBC discusses with them, you find the backgrounds are Indians. So our core competence in India is knowledge. Our Vedas, our Upanishads, they are more books of knowledge than religion. Religion becomes later on, but first it's like physics, chemistry, maths. So we are very fortunate to have been born in India. So we have the inherent knowledge with us. But to become a good entrepreneur, you must have focus. And the purpose of life cannot be just making money. Money will become side, it'll be a side product or a byproduct. But the main thing is you want to innovate something. And I can tell you today for sure, whatever you want to think, if you apply yourself and if you work hard, it will happen. I'll give you an example. Today, if somebody decided, why can't human beings take off from their terrace? Why can't they fly? Why do you need an aeroplane? I can guarantee you that can happen, provided you put your work inside, put your studies into action. And lastly, there has to be great teamwork. Without a teamwork, it is very difficult to achieve anything. And when I was growing, I always mixed around with people who were much smarter and more knowledgeable than I ever was, and try to take things from them, try to learn a lot of things, books. What is certain is death, and what is permanent is change. World is going to change somewhat post COVID-19. Again, this is going to bring you a lot of opportunity. Lot of technology development will take place. After World War II, technology totally changed. Now is again a great opportunity for entrepreneurs to think out of the box. But the basic nature of humanity, which is love, compassion, helping everybody, that should not be missed out. So whenever you read about these great men who have done good service, basically they're good human beings. Always try to help wherever you can. I'm going to stop here and keep it open. And Bhavna ji is there. The young
Yes.
moderator can also throw it open. You can ask questions and we'll go further along this discussion. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a great learning from you. So from here, we'll take up the question and answer round. So the very first question from one of the listeners, that is Dr. Deepthi Sharma. She has a query and wants to ask that, do you feel that a campaign, Vocal for All, will help small startups?
Just if it remains only as a campaign, it may not help. It could even help without a campaign. You don't do something just because there is campaign. If there is a campaign, कि हम लोग सब सच बोलेंगे. I mean, it's given. That spirit of entrepreneurship is there. Like I said, when I was growing, and I also come from a business background. So father used to ask, कि भाई आज नया क्या किया? What have you done new today? So either you do a thing in a new way or innovate a new stuff. Campaign by itself, that just because one country is going down and you want all the produce here, it does not happen like that. You must have the fire in you. You must understand why are you doing it. And India is, like I said, quite capable of it. So not only because of the campaign of local, you must do it that I want to give maximum employment to our people. I don't want to see this migrant the way they have been, walking on the street. It was just heartbreaking scenes. I just don't want ever to see that in India. At least if I can't change the country as such, I can change my locality. And if there are 40, 50, 100, 200, 20,000 people, I want to be sure that their lives are better. So yes, this will work, not just because it's a campaign.
Thank you so much, sir, for the answer. And here I go next. I think we have a lot of queries. There's another question from Dr. Sunita Singhal, and she wants to ask that a young graduate who is not having a financial backup doesn't collect the courage to think about entrepreneurship? How can they be motivated?
Financial background in the sense that, does it mean that the person doesn't have money to start a business?
Sir,
Or knowledge of finance?
Sir, maybe the money aspect.
Okay, so now, you couldn't have been in a better situation today than ever before. Why do I say that? Because gone are the days when you had to depend on banks. There are venture capitalists now. There are a lot of people with so much of money. All they are looking is for ideas. When you have ideas, I tell you, money is just not a problem at all. There is so much of money around the world, and the entire world is open to you. The regulations are so relaxed that if somebody from Japan wants to invest in your small business, which could be just a pizza delivery, doesn't matter. It could be just a beauty parlor or a haircutting salon. It could be just a gym. It could be anything, because there is nothing small. Everything is noble, as long as you do it with good intention and as far as the values are there. Which I forgot to mention, that without values, there cannot be any business or any entrepreneur. So yes, money is the least of problem. Ideas are great, and never think that, oh my God, will this idea at all work? I gave you an idea which sounds absurd today, that you go to your terrace and you should be able to fly. And that idea may sound absurd today, but for all you know, people may be working on it. Possible. Today, every year, like it took you so many years on aviation. If a thing has taken 50 years, today the same development could take 5 years or maybe 5 months. So that period is shrinking. People have realized that they can do. Last week I was watching this space shuttle, which was a great innovation by SpaceX, a private company, right? Elon Musk. That private company had the dream that one day, why should only NASA have rockets? Why should they have only spaceship? Why can't I, as an entrepreneur, have a spaceship? And he worked on it. So last week, they fired the rocket with 2 of the astronauts there, and they docked with the International Space Station. It was a delight to watch, as if it is happening just next door. Everything was so crystal clear, and they were just going as if they're walking from one home to another home. Can you imagine? Can you imagine where we have reached? So everything is possible. Dream big. Never dream small. Your benchmark has to be higher, higher, and higher. The reason I said, if your benchmark is small, and if you achieve, then what else? So your benchmark has to be so high that sometimes you will feel that you can't achieve. Doesn't matter. You have to carry on, otherwise life becomes very boring.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the answer. Now, I would like to ask the next question, sir. Miss Pratisha Jha, she has another query, and she wants to ask, how small entrepreneurs tackle this financial crunch during COVID time?
Yeah, this is a very good question. And the biggest crunch is really coming to small scale. The smaller guys, a smaller guy who has to pay, let's say, a rent of 10,000 rupees a month, and his shop is closed. And obviously there is no cash flow. This is a very, very trying time. And this is where your business acumen comes into being by negotiating with your landlords, let's say, and doing something which is technologically oriented. That if you are in, let's say, a grocery shop, this is where you can say that, okay, I'm going to work from home. Whoever has deliveries required, I will ensure that I get my suppliers, I get somebody who comes and delivers. So I think this is where innovation will start. The business is same, but the way of doing business changes. So I think you can't sit back and say, oh my God, I can't pay the rent, I'm going bust, I'm going to be bankrupt. No, you have to be confident that something will happen. If it is not going to work this way, is it like water? When it flows, and if there is some obstacle, the water will find its own way and make its way from whichever way. I'm not saying it's very easy. It is difficult, but don't give up. Audio.
Sorry. Truly, sir, it's a key learning for all of us. So I would go with the next question, which is from Dr. Deepti Sharma. And she's asking, can entrepreneurial education increase risk-taking temperament in youth?
I think risk-taking temperament is part of confidence. And risk is always calculated, in the sense that you know your exit, you know your entry. Like when I gave the example of Mr. Philip Petit, he took a great, I mean, you can't have greater risk than that. But before he went to that 100th floor, he must have gone to the 5th floor, 7th floor, 8th floor. Then the bar kept on going up, and up. And believe me, I met this gentleman in Delhi. I personally met him. I said, how did this all happen? Let me give you the story if you have little time. So what happened? He said that, I said, why did you think of this? Then he said, as a boy, as a youngster, I was sitting in a haircutting salon and I was having a haircut in Paris because he's a French. And suddenly I watched on TV that there is going to be a twin tower which is going to be built in America, which is going to be the highest. And he said, while I was watching that, which is going to happen in future, I decided that one day I'm going to walk through that building. Twin tower, I'm going to walk through that tower. He said, I decided then, many years back, before even it was built. So he had that dream, so he must have worked on it. He must have practiced like crazy. Without practice, nothing is possible. Without hard work, nothing is possible. We depend on naseeb. Naseeb is अपनी जगह पे होते हैं, मगर उसके आधार पर आप अपना जीवन नहीं व्यतीत कर सकते हो. You have to depend on your own self. When you depend on your own self, rest comes. So that's what I would personally feel, that have confidence. Ways will come. Methods will happen. Think out of the box.
Yes, sir. The greatest.
And let me tell you, I'm not talking like a Gyani. I'm just telling with whatever little experience I have. And I have no doubt that people who are asking questions, they must be much more gutsy and much more intelligent. So, I'm just telling what I have experienced in life, and I'm sharing that. I'm not any kind of Gyani or Pandit or nothing of that sort.
Sir, I'm very much sure that people really want to learn from your experience only. They're really looking forward for all such experiences. So, sir, like you said, it's the greatest mantra. So, I will go with the next question. It is from Mr. Keshav Jha, and he wants to ask how to remove panicking and find job after graduation in this situation.
How to?
So, how to remove panicking? How can't we be not panic?
केशव जी आपका नाम ही केशव है और हम लोग सब केशव की पूजा करते हैं. अब केशव यदि पैनिकी हो जाएगा तो अर्जुन का क्या होगा? अर्जुन पैनिकी था, केशव को पैनिक कभी हो ही नहीं सकता. Arjun was panicky, and this is where again it's very interesting. Now, what is Mahabharata and Gita? Can you imagine, केशव जी, कि आप उसके अर्जुन के सारथी थे, स्वार्थी नहीं सारथी, ठीक है? And Arjun was, can you imagine the scene, middle of the battlefield, and Arjun is going and said, why should I fight? It's like a surgeon going to a operation theater and say, why should I perform surgery? This is where he said, my God, you please understand this is your duty. And you have got the training. You're the best. Nobody can defeat you. So there is no question of panic only comes if you are not prepared. If you are prepared for life, and if you are prepared even to make mistakes. Don't think that Sachin Tendulkars of the world, on the very first day, they did their best and they did whatever they did, and every time they are performing century. No, Sachin also goes out with a very low score. Never be afraid of failures. We all, please understand, there is nobody who has not failed in life. Never be afraid of that. That's building experience. Why do we call research? Somebody has done some kind of a search, he might have failed, but other person picks it off from his or her mistake. So research, it never says search. You can only search your soul. But research is something which somebody has done and you are carrying forward from there. So never ever be afraid of failure. Never be afraid of, oh my God, what will society say? अरे हमारे माताजी पिताजी क्या कहेंगे, हमारे दोस्त क्या कहेंगे? ये कभी मत सोचो, क्योंकि हम सब इंसान हैं, and we are all acceptable that you'll fail in life. Innovation कैसे होता है? You know something? I won't be wrong if I would say that only maybe 10% of the thoughts which work. But that doesn't mean that 90% should give up. That 90% could come in 10%. Never ever give up till you achieve your goal. So panic, Keshav ji, आप panic ही हो जाएंगे तो हम लोग का क्या होगा?
Okay, thank you, sir. That was a great learning. So I would go with the next question, which is from Miss Meenu.
Meenu.
Yes, sir, Miss Meenu. And she has a query and wants to ask, how big a factor is luck in startup success?
Since we do not know that factor of luck, I think we should just leave it there. Luck is a good thing to pass the buck, right? I wouldn't say that luck is not a factor at all. It is there. Like if you have an exam, and on that very day, the streets of wherever Meenu is from, let's say Delhi, it gets flooded, and it becomes very difficult for her to reach the examination hall if the examination is not virtual. Those you can attribute to a little bit of luck. But I don't think so we should start our life with our kundali. I mean, I perhaps I would believe in that, but it is not something, because like I said, what is permanent is change. Things keep on changing. And what is certain is death. Between these two planes we are living. So don't depend only on luck. So if you want to talk about luck, you have to tell yourself that I am going to be the most luckiest person. Nobody is going to be as lucky as I am. Then you have more confidence, you come over the luck factor as well. And in terms of a factor, on an average, you can't be unlucky every time. You have to be lucky sometime also. So average works out, because nature is not so cruel that, okay, Meenu ko, every time Meenu goes, there'll be flood. ऐसे नहीं होगा Meenu, ऐसे कभी नहीं होगा. So luck is, it neutralizes. Good luck, and if you are not successful, maybe bad luck, but doesn't matter. Work hard, good luck will come pouring to you.
How beautifully, sir, you have just cleared the views of Miss Meenu. And I believe it's the top fear of today's youth, that they are very much scary about this luck factor. but I believe they must have taken this learning from you and they will adhere to it. I believe so. So now we'll go to the next question, and it is from Miss Pratisha Jha, and she wants to ask sir that what model can we have in the event of crisis?
Model?
Yes, sir.
Model in sense of what?
Sir, maybe she wants to ask like a business model.
Innovation. There are no models. You create your model. There are no fixed model. Model which was there 10 days back or 10 months back is obsolete. Today, when we talk about doing business, talk about surgery. I'm hooked up to surgery and cricket. I don't know why. So even if you talk about surgery, earlier the methodology was very different. You had to cut open everything. Now a small little microscopic hole does the trick. So things change. That's why I say change is permanent. So the model is something which you should create yourself. There is no model which is, this is it. Certain laws could be permanent, like Newton's law of motion, the law of gravitation. Certain things are there in nature. Those things you have to take in account and do whatever it is. If the direction of the wind is changing, then just change your sail so that the winds become favorable to you. So look at whatever is happening in the world. Like for instance, post-COVID, a lot of things are going to be dependent on technology itself. And before even you could realize, in the last 3 months, you have started having a lot of product which has come in the market. A product which I saw, which is known as hygiene hand. And it is small little plastic stuff where you don't have to touch anything. So if you are going to an elevator, there is a small thing sticking out that you push the button through that, not your fingers. If you want to carry some bag, there is a hook on that. And it's a small little thing. So even during this so-called crisis period, the human mind is working overtime. And there are a lot of innovation which has already come in the market. So models will keep on changing. The basic stuff may not change, that you have to breathe oxygen and it has to come out with nitrogen. Basic things won't change. You evolve and you make your own model. Pratiksha ji, I hope this was audible to you. Is she both way communication or it's only one way?
Sir, it's a one way.
Okay, no problem. We'll meet Pratiksha someday.
They are just posting the queries.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I let you to know.
But
So,
one day I want to come there to the institute and talk to students and faculty in person.
sure, sir, we are very much awaiting for that day.
Nothing like real. And when people say that the world is going to be only virtual, I totally disagree with that. Nothing like real. I mean, I'll show you a virtual apple. Can you eat it?
Sure.
Nothing happens. Adam and Eve also had to eat a real apple, not the virtual one. So virtual is just a makeshift.
True, sir. True. So, sir, thank you so much for your words of wisdom. It was, again, a great learning. So, sir, I again have a question from very honorable ma'am, Dr. Bhavna Agarwal. And she has a query and she wants to know that what about the various agencies promoting micro, small and medium enterprises?
What about them?
She would like to know what are the various agencies that are promoting such enterprises.
Bhavna ji is very intelligent person. I had the privilege of meeting her when she came with the children to a parliament. I think the next big thing is going to happen in that area which she just mentioned. And I'm sure she must be doing some work in that area. And I think a lot of people must be absolutely delighted about this because given the population of India, small and micro is actually the base. And very honestly, the maximum suffering in terms of financial losses and otherwise is in that area. And the emphasis of the government also, whether it is state government or federal, is in that area. So it's a great question, Bhavnaji, and I'm sure your students and others who are listening will pay extra attention to this area. And thank you for asking this question.
Well, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the answer. And now the next question is from Mr. Aditya Chawla. And he wants to ask how to survive in business during, no, sir, this crisis time.
Aditya ji, you know, when you say Chawla, it reminds me of the great and late Kalpana Chawla. Kalpana Chawla was an astronaut coming from Haryana. I met her parents, a few years back. They're very humble, absolutely. And Kalpana Chawla and Sunita Williams have done India pride. Can you imagine Kalpana Chawla going up, Sunita Williams staying in outer space for months together? The reason I'm talking about them is also, this is also part of enterprise. They may not be in a business, but this is, the temperament is that of enterprise. So in this particular period, I've already answered in my own other ways that if you look at it as crisis, then it remains as crisis. If you look at this crisis as an opportunity, it becomes a great opportunity. So I think look at it as an opportunity.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Now, I have another question from Dr. Sunita Singhal, and she wants to ask, in your opinion, which one is the first requirement to get success in the entrepreneur journey?
In what? What is it?
Sir, it is,
First,
in your opinion, which one is the first requirement to get success in the entrepreneurial journey? Is it entirely a new idea, or consistent quality, or the effective sales pitch?
no, I think believe in yourself. And the basic is whatever you are doing, just believe in yourself. If you are doing something because, Poonam Chand Sahani is doing, or if you are doing something because Aditya Gupta is doing, and they have made a lot of money, that's why I must do this. No. If you have confidence in you and if you have passion for it, if you love to play guitar and you are ready for hard work, and if you are focusing, like nothing is small. Important thing is whatever you are going to do, you must ask yourself, why are you going to do this? And the objective of doing that is something which you want to do. And why you want to do that, you only know. You want to help the society, but like playing the guitar, you love it. And that's where you want to be a guitar player, and you want to start an academy where you're going to teach students to play guitar. That also is a business. And then later on, you'll have that guitar school all over the country. You can have a chain of academy of teaching guitar. So you must have self-confidence, and you must do something which you love to do it. So if you're a principal, a joke comes to my mind. Do we have time for that? So, John doesn't want to go to school. And mother says that, John, get up, get ready, have your shower, go to school. John said, Mom, tell me, why should I go to school? Everybody in the school hates me. All the teachers hate me. All the students hate me. The people, the staff, they don't like me. Tell me, why should I go to school? So mother said, John, the reason you should go to school, that you are the principal of the school. So the reason I said this, that if that principal is not loving his or her job, then nobody can be happy with him or her. If you're loving your job, then the student will just hang around you. Even after the class, you'll see many teachers. The student don't want to leave the teacher. They want to share everything, whether related to the subject or not. They want to talk about the movies they want. They're going to talk about the vacation they're going to go, unrelated to the subject. Because the teacher is loving the job. And that's what is very important. So you must love what you're going to do. And that's what is the passion.
Yes, sir. As rightly said, nothing is small. So we should all learn from this. And it's truly a blessing to have such interactive session from you, sir. We are learning a lot.
I'm learning too.
So I have a lot of questions. Now the next question is again from Mr. Keshav. And he
Keshav.
wants, yes, sir.
Is same Keshav or this different one?
It's the same Keshav. Keshav. And he wants to know, this time investment in agriculture land is good.
Super.
Israel did in large scale to build up corporate like structure in agriculture.
Agriculture is my favorite. There are two. I just wrote an article and on Atmanirbhar Bharat. I said before we become Atmanirbhar, we have to understand what is our core quality. And one core quality is knowledge. Since Aryabhat gave us zeros, we have that knowledge. Without the zero, nothing matters. So, and other thing is agriculture. Our farmers are one of the best in the world. So now what happens, Keshavji? I also love agriculture. And today, given the technology in agriculture, like drip irrigation, which originally came from Israel. Now look at their confidence. Israel had no water. They had ocean around, but the water was not suitable for the soil. So they had this water which gets filtered, and to minimize the use of water is drip irrigation. I'm sure Keshav you would know, and people would know about it. So the drip goes directly into the root and through a system. So add the technology part of it to your entire agriculture, and I couldn't agree more that agriculture is not only going to be a good enterprise, but much needed. Now, this is the time because we had green revolution in the country. We did not have to import food. Can you imagine if all the ships are not functioning? If airports are shut? Fortunately, we are okay with food. Otherwise, the basic food will not be there. So now everybody has realized that grow your food. Earlier, the mantra was, oh, why should the farmers be in agriculture? Shift them out to the cities. They should go and do this, that, and others. No, farmers must grow more. Only thing is agriculture was not profitable at all. It still is not profitable. So when you see the migrant laborers, they have small pieces of land as well. And the poor people couldn't go back. So agriculture definitely is going to be up and coming. And India is going to be showing the way because we are very good. We must use technology, and even the soil, which is not fertile, can be changed into fertile soil. And you can grow a lot of stuff suitable to that particular soil. The reason I'm telling, I'm also a Kisan. I also have agriculture, and I love that.
The next question now, sir, is Miss Arushi wants to ask, how will India overcome economic slowdown which happened during lockdown?
You know, India, very honestly, and this is not getting into politics or anything, somebody has said very rightly that India is a rich country and we are doing our best to keep it poor. India's entrepreneurship, and I mentioned about Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, they're all Indian guys here. And they all had gone out. So the basic temperament of India is really to do business. Ab sone ki chidiya aisi thodi thi. People had the guts, they went out, they went to China, they went everywhere. And the Silk Route, etc., they were part of it. So I personally feel that we need to have a teamwork. Without the teamwork, nothing will happen. Whichever government it is, whether in the center or the state, they have to trust the people and not treat every person as if he is going to be a tax evader. No. Take them as part of the team. Make sure that the stories are heard. I think India must give itself 10 years. If you say that you're going to be a superpower or Atmanirbhar tomorrow, it will not going to happen. Because we are still dependent on two basic things, which is defense and energy. Almost about 70 to 80% of our need comes from import. We need to be very, very strong in defense. First comes your defense. A country who is powerful is always very powerful in their, I'm not telling use of military power, no. When we talk about even, let's say, North Korea, small little country, because of their military power. Military power is very important and it gives a lot of innovation and a lot of business as well. And basic security is very important. So all these things will lead to innovation, but we must take everybody together. If you feel that, oh Bengali hai, ye Gujarati hai, wo Bihari hai, wo Tamil ka hai, I think then we are divided. The first thing is, doesn't matter which political party. I think a time comes when we have to be together. And unfortunately, I must confess, and I'm not going to blame anybody, that we are divided. Divided, we fall. United, we stand. Any politics one has to do it during only election time. Anything you want to say, but talk about policies, talk about how you're going to improve the country. Today, it has become only in Hindi gali galoch. We have to come out of it. We must come out of it. And good people, when your institution talks about leadership, good people must also come into politics. They must come into bureaucracy. They must come to police. Fortunately, we have great forces, armed, Navy, Air Force. We have great bureaucracy. We have great police. India lacks nothing. Politically, we must come together. We must stand united. During election, we can work out only on policies, not on personal gali galoch. And I think this is where the student must also say, enough of negativity. Let's talk positive. Let's talk facts and figures. Let's not just talk up in the air. India has a great future, I can tell you that. Because our young minds are super. You look at America, best of the school, who are the best students? Indians. Who are the best faculty member? Indians. Best doctors, best scientists, best. Canada, the best people who do agriculture are Indians. You see all those Sardarjis who have gone from Punjab long time back, hardworking from Haryana, Punjab, North India, UP. We have made a mark, but we must not be egoistic. See what has happened, sorry to drift a little. Politics have become only for power, which is very ugly and obnoxious. If you only be there only for power and not to really do good, then I think we'll be just crawling, fighting. The reason the British came, the Mughals came, because we are not united. And I'm afraid today again we are going through the same. So I think in democracy, people must force that we have enough of this. Let's have a meaningful debate with facts and figures without calling names. Sorry, I drifted a little.
That's perfectly fine. And we are learning a lot, whether you drift or not, sir. great learning in each and every word you speak. Sir, as we have already, Mr. Raghu Yadav has asked the same question and you have already asked it. So let's move forward and I'll ask the next question, which is from Mr. Om Prakash Yadav. And he wants to know, in current situation, which sector we choose, service or manufacturing sector?
Choose a sector where you are confident about. Don't choose a sector, because everybody else is choosing. When you get into manufacturing, it requires a lot of investment also. So it all depends what is your background. And when you talk about manufacture, what is your raw material, your market? I don't need to tell you that. You know everything you know about it. If you already have somebody who's going to pick up all your produce and you have a captive market, by all means. But today's world is full of opportunity. And I've always said that you couldn't be living in a better times in terms of connectivity. Can you imagine? We're all connected. I mean, people could be in Timbuktu and we are here, you're in Delhi, we are all connected. Today, this small little toy has everything. So it's a great time for us. The world was never connected the way we are today. Value-wise, we might be disconnected. Emotions-wise, we may be different. But as far as communication is concerned, we are all connected. So don't worry about sector. Do something which you are confident in. So don't worry about returns. Manufacturing will have more returns, service will have less. So take a calculated risk, depends on where you are more comfortable.
The next question is from Dr. Deepti Sharma again, and she wants to know how we can correlate entrepreneurship with Atmanirbhar Bharat. So
I think my opening remark was that. And without your self-confidence, without Atma Vishwas, there cannot be Atmanirbhar. Atma Vishwas is the base of Atmanirbhar. You must have Atma Vishwas. Vishwas tha, तभी Mr. Philip Petit वहां चल सके. वो आत्मनिर्भर तभी हुए जब उसके पास आत्मविश्वास था. I'll give you a sad example. That lady which you saw pulling a little kid on the suitcase. I think most of us saw that picture of that migrant laborer, a woman, a great mother, pulling a suitcase, and maybe a 5-year-old kid is sleeping on the suitcase. And this lady is going to travel more than 500 kilometers. 500, can you imagine? Sometimes I feel that is tougher than what Mr. Petit did. She had Atma Vishwas that I can do it. That lady who was carrying, who was on family way, she travels a big distance. She had Atma Vishwas that I can do it. I think if you have that Atma Vishwas, then nothing is impossible. And that is what I really started my little deliberations with that. All the power is within you. If you have that Atma Vishwas, Atmanirbharta will automatically come.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. And now, again, the next question is from Dr. Sunita Singhal. And she wants to ask, as various survey reports say that consumer sentiments would remain low, and we as a layman can also predict that. In such a situation, how entrepreneurial measures can assure employability?
Well, a good entrepreneur creates interest. Where there is no demand, you create a demand. And that is actually your entrepreneurship. There may not be any demand for, let's say, this particular hygiene hand I talked about. So how you market a product? You need to market a product where you create enough interest so that if somebody has, let's say, 5,000 rupees disposable income, and that person has a lot of choices, he or she must just buy your product because you have convinced, and you have to be absolutely genuine about servicing that product. So I think in this time also, what people would require is values, that what is going to be added value to us. So I again go back to what I have been talking about, a great opportunity. I see this entire period, which has given you time for 3 months to think about it, to reflect inside. I don't think so this time is going to come. Fortunately, this time is not going to come. Fortunately, in the sense that we are going to come out of it very soon. I have just no doubt about it. Even during this time, I've had a lot of friends known who were pehlwans otherwise. And last night only somebody said, yeah, Dinesh, अभी तक तो मतलब बहुत हिम्मत थी, मगर सच मायने में थोड़ा डर लग रहा है. And डर किसका है? Take your precautions, wear your mask, wash your hands, don't read too much, don't see too much of television, because they have not gotten out of one thing. If nobody knows the virus, and they've already become expert in the virus without knowing what this virus is all about. I can only tell you that this is not going to be there. You have to live with this virus, but this situation will change. Medicine will come, vaccine will come, and this virus itself will lose strength. And you have to, when this lady was talking about luck, instead of luck, depend on nature. And always consider that nature is going to be kind to you. At the moment, nature is healing itself. And I think what entire world put together couldn't do it. On climate change, ye summit hua, ye hua, wo hua, kuch nahi hua. In just one stroke, nature has said that, guys, you can't do it. Let me handle myself. And there you are. Everything has changed. So nature is going to be helping you if you are on the right direction. If you're in the right direction, if you have the conviction, if you have the values, then the lucks and the blessings cannot go anywhere. It has to come to you. But if you're just sitting at home and say, I don't have luck, then you won't have luck. I can guarantee you that. You have to be there. You have to be out there. So even during this period, those people who are confident about it, okay, I'm taking precaution. But even if I have COVID, I'm not going to die. But if you think that, oh my God, I'm going to die, then you'll die without even having COVID. So again, Atma Vishwas. Uska matlab ye nahi ki you're going to be stupid. That doesn't mean that you jump from the 8th floor and say, Atma Vishwas se kuch nahi hoga. Aapne training li hai, aapke bones sab theek hai, then there's a thin line between stupidity and adventure. Even again, Mr. Patil went up there, he must have practiced. It's all out of practice. It's all out of, concentration, focus. So don't be stupid. Be very wise and be intelligent. And that is one thing which is different, given by nature, God, whoever you want to say, which is different than animal. Animals work on instinct. They do not know the differences between good, bad. But human beings have intellect. And they can figure out what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what is truth, what is fake. So within yourself, you know. So use that intellect. कि भाई हम जम मार रहे हैं, नसीब अच्छा होगा तो बच जाएंगे, तो नहीं होता है.
Such an extremely enlightening thought, sir. Thank you so much. Now we'll go to the next question, and it is from Miss Pratiksha Jha, and she wants to know what governmental schemes can a small entrepreneur avail during the COVID time?
If I were to start a business, first thing I'll do is not depend on the government. Don't depend on the government. Depend on yourself. And if that scheme, you make use of that scheme in such a way that even if that help doesn't come from government, you are good enough to do it yourself, right? And there are enough ways of doing it where things will happen. You know, what can government give you? Money. That money, as I said, can come easily from people who want to invest and who have got enough money for that. Venture capitalists, VCs, I just mentioned about it. So government schemes are very good. I'm not saying that don't try at all. Try, but don't depend on it. It's a long haul. There are a lot of red tape. And by the time the red tape opens, either you have become fed up with that, or the environment has changed and the product for which you wanted that money is not required. I'm not pessimistic about it. I'm just giving you the realistic thing that if I had to do it, I would. I mean, government help will come, welcome, but I will not start a business only looking at government help.
So, the next question over here is, sir, as a science and technology policy aims to spread scientific temperament, if we get success in it, will it increase the number of startups?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because you look at Israel. Israel is known as the startup nation. And everything is related to technology. Today, the world has improved because of technology. Unless and until the technology is there, right from the people who are living in caves, slowly, when they were rubbing two stones to create fire, how to create fire came, the steam engines came, the electric engine, the locomotives. So innovation always is at the forefront of any business. Innovation means a new product or a new method to use the same product. So we have cars, for instance. The cars were there. But how we are going to use the technology of the cars have changed. Aircraft. I'm a pilot, I can tell you. When I used to fly, we literally had to fly the plane. Now you have to manage the cockpit. From flying from the cockpit, it has become managing the cockpit. And why is America number one? Always. Why? Is not because of anything, it's because of innovation. And where do the innovation comes? It doesn't come from government. It comes from universities. Now, when you have seen the list of universities, number 1 to number 100, most of the universities are American. And I'm not biased for American universities. They just give you that environment. They give you that kind of thing where you have access to knowledge. You have access to doing practical innovations. And they put that kind of things in students. They encourage them to go right there. And I'm sorry to say that our ranking is going down. So innovation, technology, every 50 years, America does something. They had microprocessors. So it carried on for many years. Everybody in the world needed microprocessors. Then they have equipments in defense. The world needed that. Then they also had chip, which every computer, every processor needs. So every other decade, in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, they come up with something new. Now, again, they have started a space program, realizing that the next era in the world, I can tell you today, is space technology. Everything is going to be space oriented. Every connectivity is going to be through satellite. Small, little satellites are going to be thrown up. You're going to have communication with your cell phone without an intermediary tower. You will be directly connected through the satellite without towers. So I think the world is going to be changing, and space technology is going to be really, again, leading the world. So America has gone back to space technology. They have privatized the entire space. Earlier, it was only NASA. Now, can you think of private sector launching? Unheard of. We are petty. The problem is we just want to keep everything to ourselves. I'll give you an example of Air India. Air India never allowed any private sector. Can you imagine if it was only Air India today, what would have happened? So you have to let it go. You need to have rules and regulation, but make it easy for people who have innovation to practically put their innovation at work. I can still tell you, we do not respect our talent. Our talent, they go abroad because they don't have respect here. We have enough talent to create a new India. As long as we respect that the guy could be only a 19-year-old, but he may have a lot of stuff in him. So today's bureaucrat or even in the political arena, "Arey, wo to bachcha hai, kya hai, chodo yaar." You have to listen to people. And again, if you want to be a good entrepreneur, please listen. Listening is very, very important. Keep your ears and eyes open, and don't feel that I know it all. If you have that attitude, then you'll never grow. So I think one of the problems here is we do not respect our talent. So that's why talent, they go out. Talent don't go out just for money, let me tell you that. Because they have a lot of creativity in them. And like if Mr. Pichai went and now he may be earning maybe 100 million a year, is because he wanted to create. And those who want to create, and if they don't find a place and the environment, they'll go. And there's nothing wrong in it, because your creativity is good for the world at large.
So I must say, we have a very curious audience. And here comes the next question. And the next question is about quality and cost affordability. Both rarely can be offered hand to hand. How can a startup make the balance of both?
Quality and affordability.
Yes, sir. Cost affordability.
No, I mean, it has to be both, You can't say that, I'm giving you a ventilator. You can buy it, but we are not sure whether it's going to work when you need it. So I don't think so there is any question in compromising the quality. Affordability of that quality comes again with technological innovation. That, all right, I'm using this metal, which is a little more heavier and expensive. Can I use some other material instead of this metal to make sure that my cost comes down without compromising on quality? So even if you look at the computers 30 years back, 40 years back, it required the entire hall. Today it has come in a small little plastic thing called cell phone. So quality can never ever be compromised. No chance. Absolutely no chance.
As we know, sir, that the time is already about to end. So here we can take up two more questions. The second last question is from Mr. Adarsh Kumar, and he wants to know, restaurants are badly hurt. What would you suggest for them?
I think restaurants, hospitality, airlines, real estate, they're at the bottom of the pit. Restaurants have to create confidence. the confidence they have to create in their customer, that come and look at our kitchen. Your kitchen needs to be visual, means you can see through the glass. How are the chefs making it? Once that confidence comes, people are going to be coming back. And I can also tell you that this is a temporary phase. We had compromised too much on our hygiene, the basic hygiene. Washing hands before we eat. Small, little things. All those things have become now compulsory part of our life. So this was also, nature had to do all this drama to get you back to your basic. So restaurant business are definitely hurt. A lot of restaurants are closing down. But you have a new opportunity of telling that, look here, we are going to make dishes which are not only hygienic, but they are good for health. At the same time, they are very tasty. So I think a new thing which is going to come, which is going to be health oriented. Everybody wants to increase their immunity today. So you have to give some new value to your restaurant if you still survive. But talking about restaurant, I have a complaint that, you have not offered me a cup of tea, leave aside lunch, kuch bhi nahi diya. And these are the disadvantage for me and advantage for you, जिसको हिंदी में कहते हैं क्रूअल हिंदी में कि फोकट में सब कुछ हो गया. Anyway, I take a rent check for that. I'm not going to leave you people. I'm going to take this and this will be pending for me. Okay.
Sure, sir. As you wish, as you say. So here comes the last question. And it is about how well India is prepared for future environmental challenges.
Environmental?
Challenges.
R&D. I think it's a great question. If you look at any company today, R&D is just not there. There is no R&D at all. They don't spend on R&D. Again, all these countries, whether it's Israel, whether it's America, Germany, even China, we may have differences. But the fact is, they spend a lot of money on R&D. Unless and until you have R&D, you cannot develop. Then you can never be Atmanirbhar. If you want to be Atmanirbhar, there are two things. Listen to your talented youngsters. He may not be rich. He may be coming from some kind of a village. Does not matter. Respect his knowledge. Treat him the way you would like to be treated yourself. Second, spend every bit of money on R&D. If you're talking about MIT, Stanford, Harvard, all this, what is this? Princeton, R&D, research and development. Hundreds of years they have taken. We better start money into R&D. Today, our pharmaceutical industries are doing a little better because money has been spent into R&D. So India is also a front runner in creating a vaccine for this COVID because money was spent on R&D. And I think government must give all the encouragement even to the institution. Today I went to University of Israel. They spend money on students who innovate something, and the university partners with students to sell that product. They literally partner with them. And that is why Israel again is known as the nation of innovation. So R&D is a must. And most of the reason I talk about the military power, most of the R&D comes from defense needs. And R&D, you cannot work, if I were the Prime Minister, maybe one day with your good luck, we talk about luck. So R&D I would give that company totally tax-free, total, no tax for everything. If you are spending a good amount of your money on R&D, I will not tax the institution also. Spending and teaching the student about R&D. Research and development start with universities. And that is where your university, I have no doubt about it, will be also one of the forerunners of this particular aspect. And again, I want to thank you. I want to thank Bhavna ji and all your people who are connected with this, that you have a bright future. And I have no doubt the questions which I got were absolutely very interesting. That goes to show that people have interest in various areas and they're serious about their work. So I wish you all, and you have been a great moderator, ma'am. It's not easy to read out all the questions and be alert that who's asking what. And you have done a great job. It was great meeting you virtually. Look forward to coming to your institution and meeting you in reality.
Sir, thank you so much for this enlightened session. So we are really fortunate to have you, your words of wisdom. I'm sure that all the listeners must be looking for such interactive sessions in future too. Thanks again, and I'm keen to host a cup of tea and lunch.
So this was food for thought. Now we'll need food for stomach also.
Yeah, this is the drawback actually of e-portals, that we miss the real warmth. So
Really?
I'm very keen to see you
I
at
need
my.
to smell the food. I need to feel the steam in the food also. And of course your tea. We'll hopefully, we are going to see each other very soon. All the very best to you and your entire institution.
Thank you.
Namaskar.